Hello, Fightful Faithful. It's International Women's Day. So I thought Linda and Sheila would host the show, at least for a while. I don't know. Maybe it'll get old for me as well. I'm sure it'll get old for you. But anyway, it's NXT Roadblock. Sheila, did you enjoy the show?
I watched the Roadblock. I thought it had some good things, some surprising things, some not so great things. I thought that most of it felt very medium, but the ending, the main event, was fantastic. I haven't felt that excited about the NXT in a very long time. Not since the last time I felt that kind of joy was when I was seeing, what was it, the licorice pizza, that picture down at the theater, and it was just such a lovely experience. And that was the last time I felt the happiness about something on my television.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. It was an experience. As you said, it was an experience. I went to the hairdressers today. That was an experience. I don't normally go so short. But they told me it looked very modern. They told me it looked very modern. So I said, "What the hell? Let's give it a whirl."
Is it Melissa, or did you go to the Claire?
Oh no. I go to a new. I see. Now here's the thing. I used to go to the Melissa and the Claire, but the last time I went, would you believe this? The nerve! They suggested that I try electrolysis. They said I was getting a little hair on my upper lip, and I said, "Excuse me? My face has been as soft and as hairless as a baby's patoot since the day I was born. Thank you very much. I do not need what waxing of my chin, I suppose? Never.
You know what they call that? That's the upselling. They're trying to charge you for services that you clearly do not need.
That's how they get you. That's how they get you. They get you in the chair, and they feel like, well, they're not going to say no because they're in the chair, and they think, well, if I say no, they might stab me with a pair of scissors. You know, they get you there. It's hostage negotiation, is what it is.
They've got a captive audience, and the prices are already going up. They raised it $2 over the past 10 years. With it, if you ask me, is robbery. You can't just raise it $2.
No.
And now they want you to get an unnecessary electrolysis?
No. Completely unnecessary.
So unnecessary.
Anyway, the Roadblock was tonight.
The Roadblock was tonight.
I mean, they kind of sprung that on us last week, didn't they? I mean, I didn't know there was going to be a Roadblock, and then they were like, surprise, it's a Roadblock.
I think this is because of the Braun Breaker and making his debut on the Raw. I think they were like, this is the first champ of the new era, and we need to make a thing about his send-off. But it did not feel special, really, in any way outside of that, I wouldn't say. No. It was kind of just another episode, if you ask me. I didn't feel like anybody were dealing with the roadblock, so to speak.
As the kids say, it was mid.
The kids do say that. My Moni is always saying that.
It's mid, which I suppose is, I don't know, short for middle of the road, but then it's a roadblock. So I guess that's where a roadblock would be, in the mid of the road. Yes. So
it's
maybe
that's synergy.
It was exactly synergistic or whatever they call it. Anyway, please get in your Humper Chats.
Oh, get in the Humper Chats. We love the Humper Chats.
We absolutely adore the Humper Chats. So please go to humperchats.com and send in, a Humper Chat or 2, 3, 4.
And
6.
The Super Chats. You can send in the Super Chats.
You can also do the Super Chats. Thank you for reminding me. I completely spaced it.
It's on that YouTube. It's on the YouTube. Yeah,
you can go down to the bottom of the chat, and there's a little dollar bill sign. You click on that, and then whoop-de-doo, there's your Super Chat. And then we'll read them. We'll read them out on the air, like we're going to read this. Josh Weaver says NXT middle of the roadblock. And Fear and Loathing and NYC says, happy Tuesday, Team Kalex. You are both as over as AFI has been the last couple of days. let the good times roll, and have a great show. I love the AFI.
I like the AFI, but you know who I love is I love that CM Punk. I love that CM Punk.
See, I was very confused because I did not realize that CM Punk had moved into directing films, because I know the AFI is the American Film Institute, and they do some fantastic preservation of old cinema that I love to watch.
They're also one of those rock bands, though. Not like when you would go down to the sock hop rock type thing. No. This is a much louder, a lot of electric guitars with the AFI. It's a band. I don't know if they're named after the American Film Institute.
Okay.
But I think that's what they were talking about.
Yes. Chris Mueller said, had a really crap day, hoping Linda and Sheila can provide some laughs. That's what we're here for, dearie. We're here to put smiles on faces, just like the WWE says that they do, and they lie.
You know what? I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard, because last time I did, I pulled several muscles.
Oh,
but
I hate when that happens.
Oh, it's just the worst. But I would say that we are more stupendous than even WWE.
Yes. Well, anything's more stupendous than that. Anything would be more stupendous than that. But now, there was a few things that they had announced as being part of the festivities of the roadblock, and they did not say, but I suppose we should have assumed that the next two matches in the Lady Dusty were going to be tonight, and we started out with one of them.
I mean, they used to call you the Lady Dusty back in the day.
I was Dusty's lady,
You were.
For about 3.5 weeks. It was a whirlwind romance. But no, Jade and Raquel, who I think a lot of people thought were the shoo-ins to win the whole thing. I mean, they did so much work with them going out and walking through the trees like a couple of monkeys or whatnot. They shot the whole thing on location. Must have cost them a pretty penny. And they did all that work to try and show us that they're really good friends and they're going to be together forever. And so then they were up against the Kai Chu, the Wendy Chu and the Dakota Kai, who, I mean, let's just say they're a very interesting couple. I mean, they both got some issues. One of them appears to be a narcoleptic and the other one's a schizophrenic. Like that. It's perhaps, they're talking to people who may or may not be there. Maybe she's communicating with ghosts. We don't know. But the match, I thought, was very good, if oddly booked for a face versus face battle.
Maybe she is talking to the ghosts. Maybe she is like that Long Island medium. Do you think she's like that Long Island medium from the TLC?
The Long Island medium. She is a phony. She is a fake and a charlatan. Yes, she is.
No,
she doesn't talk to
not.
ghosts. She does this thing where she does research about the people who are coming to see her. She Googles them.
And
then she finds out who died in their lives. And she said, oh, I happened to see here on my phone that somebody in the obituaries was your father. Are you hearing any voices from your father? Oh my God, yes, I am. It's all a fake. Anyway.
You are such a skeptic. Next thing you know, you're going to tell me that the NXT isn't even real.
It's really horny. I'll tell you that much. The whole
2.0
thing.
2.0 divas.
2.0 divas. Now let's get to the match. We got a hard and fast out here at 2 hours.
We do,
and I think that we probably run afoul of a lot of people here who don't want to see Linda and Sheila. Just want to see an actual review of the show. Why I could not know.
There were some people asking who Linda was.
Linda is me. I don't know what to say, but
I don't know what people are really asking. I don't feel the need to explain ourselves.
It's an alter ego that has appeared on many shows, just not with the full hairdo. That's all. That's new in honor of International Women's Day.
If you subscribe to Fightful Select right now, you can see the documentary Becoming Linda. No, I'm just kidding.
that would be a feat.
That would be a feat. But you should subscribe to Fightful Select, darn it, for just $5 a month and catch all the latest breaking news, including your Cody Rhodes update earlier today.
Yes.
As much of an update as we can get right now. But anyway, This opening match, I don't know how the Linda, I know everything about the Linda. I don't know how the Wendy Chu wrestles in her slippers so well.
I don't know.
It blows my mind when she goes onto the ropes.
No, I mean, sometimes I'll get like a slipper like caught on the carpet and I'll almost just tumble. I'll almost take a tumble right down to the floor. So I have no idea how you would jump and do leapfrogs and all those kind of things with slippers on.
And think about that. You're in your slippers 70% of your life. No, but I vote Alex leaves the wig on the whole time.
It's on. It's on. I'm not taking it off. It's on. So anyway, listen. This was fine. We had the Toxic Attraction was up in the booth, the Toxic Lounge. You know, the teen dance club.
Teen club, yeah.
Yeah. Where the underage girls get all their drinks. And they came down midway through the match and attacked Raquel Gonzalez's knee, Nancy Kerrigan style, with a literal lead pipe. Like you could tell that Hazel had fittings on it, like they had ripped it out of the boiler room. Like there was rust on it and everything. It was a very good prop. But they attacked Raquel, and Raquel was like tended to in the break, and then no, I could do it. I could keep going. And she finally is able to pull herself up onto the apron, and Cora Jade, who's been being worked over, tags her in, and then Cora Jade is just done. Like she falls off the apron. She's not allowed to like you tagged out to your partner who you know has like a broken kneecap. I would think like be around just in case you need to break up a pinfall. But Raquel gets in, fights valiantly until Dakota Kai is about to do her runny kick into the corner thing. And then I don't know if she like saw the ghost of her friendship with Raquel Gonzalez, because she goes, and then she has to like get up the courage to try again. But because she's given Raquel so much time, Raquel just grabs her up and is going to Chingona bomb her. But the knee gives out. So she drops, and then they double team her, hit a splash and a double stomp, and pin Raquel Gonzalez. And Kaichu is going to the finals. The thing about this that is wonky to me is that this is a face versus face tag matchup, and to have the uber heels pick one babyface team to attack, and the other team gets all the advantage. Like we don't get to be like, no, I really wanted this team to win. We're like, well, I mean, I guess you would take advantage if, I mean, they didn't attack her. And nobody's calling the match, so I guess we'll try and pin her. But it doesn't feel like Dakota and Wendy Chu earned it, and yet we're supposed to like them. So it always feels weird when this kind of stuff happens in a face versus face match to me.
It's a little wonky, especially because we don't really have a reason to think that Toxic Attraction hates Raquel and Cora that much. Like I know there's history with Mandy, but like out of all of the players that are in the match, Dakota and Raquel have the most extensive visceral history, so it kind of felt like they were interfering for a lesser story in a way. And I just feel like if we had gotten more of a justification, and I know they've like talked about it, but there's nothing that I personally have felt like there hasn't been meat on the bone between like Mandy doesn't hate Raquel, you know what I mean? And neither do her minions. So I felt like the match was good. The booking was confusing. But part of that, like you said, is just like the bracketology here, like having a face-on-face match. So I didn't hate it, but I definitely hear your complaint about it because it doesn't make a ton of sense.
It just felt odd. I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah, it's just like it's not. We've seen far more logical booking, and but this still wasn't necessarily logical booking. Like this could have been stronger for sure.
Yeah, I also felt like it not only telegraphed the finish of the next women's match,
yeah,
but also the entire tournament. Because if Cora and Raquel got to the finals against Kaylee Ray and Io Shirai, then I would think that Toxic Attraction wouldn't want either team to win because they're afraid of both teams. And that would be an interesting thing of, do they attack both? Do they pick one that they like the worst or whatever? And you could convince me either Cora and Raquel or Io and Kaylee Ray were going to win that match. But there's no way that Kaylee Ray and Io Shirai aren't beating Wendy Chu and Dakota Kai. So now we know what the finals are, and I'd rather not have them do that if it's at all possible.
I also felt like, why, and I know this is like extra nitpicky, but like, why interfere in a semifinal of a tournament? Like, I don't know. I don't feel like Raquel and Cora have been that unstoppable because there's been so much stuff around coexistence that you'd want to keep them from getting to the finals when the other side of the finals, actually, of either one of those teams, are going to be really good. And my chief complaint about the finals picture is that it's 2 non-tag teams, right? It's 2 teams that were just thrown together for this Dusty Cup. So it's like, it's not tag team wrestling. I'm not saying they're bad tag team wrestlers, but I'm saying they're not tag teams. So it's just a little lame.
And they even brought this up in the later women's Dusty match. The only tag team left in the finals, and that's in the tournament, is Casey and Caden. And like, you guys probably shouldn't be bringing that up
when they're going to lose,
because you're gonna book them to lose. And yeah, so don't worry, I'll be back occasionally to do something. I don't know.
Did you catch the second half of his name? The HHH.
The HHH. So yeah, I mean, it's fine. Honestly, it's fine.
Yeah, it's by far like not the most egregious thing we've seen, but it could be stronger, and that's worth pointing out.
Alan Marks says, "Ladies, you are both looking exceptionally charming tonight, especially Miss Linda." Why? Thank you, Alan. I don't know. I might be in the market for a husband number 9.
Hey! Oh, you're like the king with all of the beheaded wives.
Yes, just like him. He also did not need electrolysis. The Batted to One Jam Beard says Dakota Kai, the Ghost Whisperer 2.0. And the Nerd Guru says they should abolish the NXT Women's Tag Titles, and the winner of the Lady Dusty should be added to the Mania Women's Tag Match. Madden, Io, and KLR in it. I mean, sure. Call up Io, KLR, and all of Toxic Attraction. Leave the Women's Tag Titles in NXT in the dust because they don't need them. They don't book for them. And call them all up.
Roster, though.
I know, but I'm saying, like, call up Io and Kaylee Ray. They can be a tag team or singles. Call up Toxic Attraction. They can like freebird the titles if they ever win them, and you could actually add to that tag division on the main roster because it's and also call up Casey and Caden because they've been a tag team in NXT forever. And you know what? Like, bring them up. Somebody needs to take pinfall losses in the tag division up on the main roster. Do that.
If Io goes up, I want her teaming with Asuka.
That's true.
Like,
please. And I want Kaylee Ray to start swinging her aluminum bat at people's faces up on the main roster. So
yeah.
We got it is hold on. It is very dangerous out in the parking lot of the NXT 2.0 because I mean, I don't know if you saw, but those walking loaves of white bread, the Caucasians of pain, white AOP, lumbering sacks of flour, the Creed brothers, they're lying in a heap in the wet parking lot. Apparently it's raining out there. And there's a lead pipe and a crowbar. Apparently they were attacked. We don't know by whom. This is what they call it, a running storyline through the entire night. It's a whodunit. Everybody's a suspect. Anyone could have done it. Now, originally, I thought, well, obviously it's Imperium, but you never know. It could be anybody. Now, when they did one of these with the Who Shot JR on the show The Dallas, that was a very, very interesting one. That was a cliffhanger. We had to wait all summer to find out who shot JR. But here, I mean, I guess we don't know still, but it's possible. It could be anybody.
This brought me back to game nights when me and you and husband number 4 would play Clue, because it was just like a whodunit. We'd have the wine, we'd have a clue, we would play Taboo.
The only problem is that husband number 4 was clueless.
Husbands 1, 3, 4, 6, and 7 in particular, all clueless.
All of them. As if.
Here's the thing. This is not the type of heel that Imperium is. So if it is going to be them, that just feels wildly off base for that. Which I don't like, because they're not like this. They don't feel like sneaky, conniving, whatever. Like, they just feel more like technically sound really, really good, happen to be bad guys. Like, they don't feel like this type of heel. So I don't love that. Yeah. If it is them, but again, not the worst. NXT, man, all of their properties, dangerous parking lots. No restraining orders there for the Creed brothers, and nobody ever sees who attacks them, man. Like, you got to be looking out at some point.
I mean, these are also all your coworkers, right? Like, couldn't you just like even if they're wearing like ski masks, couldn't you like tell by approximate body types?
Yeah,
you work with these guys every day. You work with them in the ring. You know what these guys look like.
You know who would help such a thing? You know who would come and slap 2 brother figures right across the face if they weren't getting along? William Regal, who is now in AEW.
They could really use him, couldn't they? Brent Lockman says, Hail Kalex, feels like at this point we need an Unsolved Mysteries style documentary about the dangers of the NXT parking lot. It is true. There are a lot of there are still some very unsolved mysteries.
I can't tell you how many other places I would park and I would just take an Uber to work. You couldn't pay me to park in the NXT parking lot. Kidnappings, street fights, cars getting broken into.
I would even take the city bus, and I never take the bus. But I would do that to avoid whatever's going on in that parking lot.
I would, except that they raised the price again. It used to be $1.75, and now it's $2.25.
Always raise the price. What is that?
And what am I, walking around with an endless supply of quarters?
Who can afford $2.25 to get on the bus?
And it's not even
That's why I stopped.
It's the expectation. I expect to pay $1.75. So yeah, I don't think Imperium are those kinds of heels, and they definitely need.
Which is why it's not them. Which is why it's not them. Which is why it's MSK, and we'll find that out next week.
I did appreciate later in the episode that they acknowledged how dangerous the parking lot was. Yes, that actually made me laugh out loud.
Alan Marks says Colonel Mustard in the library with the candlestick.
Ooh. It was always Miss Scarlet, that sneaky son of a bitch.
Yeah.
With a lead pipe, if Toxic Attraction's around. Mandy's basically Miss Scarlet with a red pipe. Maybe it was
basically
Mandy.
Is.
Yeah. We're just assuming it was dudes.
Yeah, well, you could have been. Don't know. I mean, who knows? So we got Tiffany Stratton versus Tesha Price, and as Tiffany Stratton's walking backstage, Saray in full schoolgirl peeks dramatically around a corner to watch her walk toward the ring. And Tiffany Stratton versus Tesha Price. Fallon Henley, I guess is her name in NXT.
She's not overwhelmingly Irish, which is interesting. Normally, you have to be very stereotypical. So.
Yes. If your name is Fallon Henley, you must talk like this.
Yeah. Kind of refreshing, to be honest.
Yes. Come to the Irish Spring. Me name is Fallon Henry.
I mean, she was a bartender. Maybe she just can't do the accent.
It's true. Anyway, she is able to win the match versus Tiffany Stratton. When when all of Saray's magical fog starts pouring out from Gorilla, and Tiffany Stratton looks at this, and then magical babyface Saray runs up from behind her through the crowd, kicks her in the back, and runs away so that Fallon Henley can get a Shining Wizard victory. And I was like I understand, like, Tiffany Stratton beat the hell out of her last week for no reason, but like I don't mind like a baby face who's savvy and understands street smarts or whatever. But Saray is like this magical anime character. Wouldn't she just wait until somebody booked a match for her and then beat her using the power of goodness? Like, I don't understand what this is.
Yeah, my notes for this just say faces take cheap shots now. Oh, okay, neat. I don't. Faces that are conniving rarely work.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Tiffany Stratton, I got nothing for right now. She doesn't look like her character at all. She looks like an American Gladiator. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. The other thing about it is that after she lost, Vic Joseph says, "Oh, Daddy and Tiffany Stratton won't like that." Like, who are you bringing in to play Daddy? Because that's dangerous. Like,
it's gonna be Vince and Austin Theory's her brother.
I don't know. I mean, we honestly, the thing I'm worried about is we're gonna get an on-screen Bruce Pritchard character.
No, why would you say that out loud?
Well, it's better than what Drew Nicholas is suggesting. They're gonna do a Cruel Intentions gimmick. This show is so damn horny. Everyone's pawing each other, heavy petting in the locker room. Everyone's got their tongues stuck down each other's throats. I mean, it would be par for the course. Just stepbrother, stepsister, all over the place, of course.
I don't appreciate how lewd the show is.
Yeah. And anyway, after Fallon Henley wins, Double Vest and the Beach come out and hoist her up on their shoulders. And Double Vest like reaches up and pats her really hard on the stomach, and she's like, "Ow!" It was just the weirdest thing. I don't understand what that was. And there's a segment later backstage.
I think that was supposed to be like they don't know how to be around girls. Like, too strong.
The way it looked like was he was just like, "Hey, I'm improvising. I'm the cool dude." Like, he knows how to be around girls, but Beach doesn't.
True, Beach doesn't.
But anyway, they're like, "Let's celebrate your first ever victory." And they're like, "Well, hey, who do you think attacked the Creed brothers?" And then they see Legado behind them, Legado del Fantasma, all of them. Like, I'll bet it was them. And so they have an argument about it. And then the Beach's like, "Hey, you, I've seen you around, Elektra Lopez. I know what you've been up to." And she says, don't point fingers at me just because you can't get laid, is what she says. And he says, "Hey, I am trying." And honestly, he's the dumbest son of a bitch in the world. But some of the stuff that he says is genuinely funny in a, "Oh my God, you're the dumbest son of a bitch in the world" way.
Yes. Your impression of it made me laugh harder than when I was watching it. So.
I mean, I have comedic timing and good line delivery.
That is very, very true.
I mean, not to toot my own horn, but toot. Josh Weaver says, "Tiffany Stratton, daughter of brother love."
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, chat at us about who you think Tiffany Stratton's dad is. Send in your super chats and your humper chats about who you think Tiffany Stratton's dad is.
So anyway, Fallon Henley's like, "Hey, you guys didn't attack them, did you?" "No, of course not. We're the good guys." And anyway, so we're gonna get Legado versus Double Vest and the Beach at some point. So that'll be interesting.
You know what, Alex?
Yeah.
With NXT 2.0 old divas being so horny,
Mm-hmm.
not everybody has such luck as these young kids to get it up all the time.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there is something on the market
Yeah.
that is able to help you.
Right.
And if you were watching Sunday night, I ran the wrong ad.
Yes, you did.
Tonight, I double checked, guys.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about this alternative in case your workplace isn't full of horny people.
Right.
Your penis is soft. Let me help. Not like that. BlueChew.com. Code FIGHTFUL. Blue Chew brings you the first chewable with the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but it's ready when you are, or when you're not. It's not about having a problem. It's about having that performance, that excellent performance, that confidence. Fill out their online questionnaire. You work with an online physician. You won't have to wait in line at the pharmacy or the doctor's office. It's shipped discreetly and directly to you, and you get that first shipment free when you use that code FIGHTFUL at checkout. You want to be confident, don't you? You want that pay-per-view, that main event performance. Don't let yourself or somebody else down. Use BlueChew.com and the code FIGHTFUL.
Drew said he legitimately pops every time he hears your penis is soft from Sean. Now, look, if you need to pop and you can't, just like Drew Nicholas, what you can do is you can go to BlueChew.com and use the code FIGHTFUL. In case your pheromones at your workplace aren't just running crazy.
Dan Janoff says, and if you're on the NXT roster, need to be ready at a moment's notice. BlueChew.com, code FIGHTFUL.
I love so much that just people in the chat are we're weighing in on the segues for Fightful. That's what we call brand loyalty, guys, and we appreciate it.
Mark Losper says Mark Losper says, missed the early part of the show. Alex's hair is surprising, but not that surprising. Nothing I do should be that surprising. Shocking, yes, but not surprising. There was a lot of 2.0 divas tonight.
There was, because you know what? You might get roadblocked, but you're not getting road cocked. Sean is so jealous right now that he didn't think of that.
That's good. The batted one, Jam Beard says, remember Vince wanted to run an angle with Steph. An incest angle with him and his own daughter. So Stratton and a step bro wouldn't be that much of a reach for them. Remember Katie and Paul Burchill? That was a weird family love angle, wasn't that? They Vince likes that stuff. JW Pringle is wrong and says that Josh Weaver's idea for Brother Love to be the father would be a great idea. It's a genius idea. No, that's incorrect. But thank you, JW Pringle, for the super chat.
People get frustrated when I say things like, as someone who started watching in 2009, keep in mind, when I say things like, if you go back and watch the Attitude Era, it doesn't really hold up in today's time. People get mad because they have an emotional attachment to that era. Go back and watch some of that shit. It's creepy.
Everyone remembers like the top angles where The Rock and Stone Cold and Mankind and Triple H and Undertaker's, but the undercard was problematic.
Yeah, and sometimes so was the main card, like Triple H in the drive-through with stuff. Not great.
Yeah. So we got another barbershop scene with Carmella. Carmella. That's a very different person. She's the one with the Corey Graves on that awful reality show that we reviewed for Fightful Select.
We did.
On Saturday.
We did.
But Carmelo Hayes is in there with Trick Williams and all of their friends. And they're just talking about, and I honestly, I think the segment's fine, but there's nothing really to say about it. It just feels like they're being natural, regular people, which is good. More of that, please. But what he says, he's going to defend his North American Championship
at Stand and Deliver in a 5-person ladder match. So he's going to defend it against 4 other people, and they're going to run qualifying matches, which is something that they never do for these things. They just pick people to be in it. I prefer qualifying matches. However, it does feel like you're like, hey, what was that thing the AEW ran for their big pay-per-view? Did they do qualifying matches? We should probably do that too, yeah? Maybe it's not like that at all, but just feels like that to me. And added thing, the first qualifying match that they have put out there is Cameron Grimes versus Santos Escobar, which is going to be a great match, but both of those men should be in the actual takeover match. Like, I don't want either of them to not be in that ladder match. Both of them should be in the ladder match. Can't you have Cameron Grimes beat, I don't know, somebody I don't care for, and the same for Santos Escobar? And then they could be in the ladder match together with Carmelo Hayes, because that sounds like a lot of fun to me.
The only thing I'll say about that is I would be very interested in also seeing either of them versus Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
I think we're lining up for Ciampa and Ziggler, but I would be very, very interested, especially in Legado versus Ziggler, to see what that looked like. So if that's the trajectory they're going in, that I wouldn't mind. But you're right. They both should be. I like tournaments. You guys know that. I like rules. I like things that make sense. I like things that make it feel like a sport. So I am all for the qualifying matches, and I think a ladder match is a good and exciting thing to do. I just hate that they're doing it at like 9:30 in the morning, because that's just like such a... I feel like the vibe in there is going to be like when they tape AEW Rampage after you've already sat through like 4.5 hours of wrestling, but it's going to be on the earlier end. Like, you shouldn't be like, I need coffee and my wrestling. Like, that's not smart.
People in there hungover as hell, stumbling into line with like an egg McMuffin, just trying to figure out a way so they're not drunk while watching the show. Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
I'm also confused by it. Is that so that they can do Hall of Fame the night before and not run it against their own product, essentially?
SmackDown is the night before. A live SmackDown plus, plus Hall of Fame. Okay. So if you're doing 2 nights, the only thing they could do is they could like last year they did it the following week, I believe. They didn't do it on the same.
Just do that.
But they want to do it as part of the thing. It's the first time they're taking NXT back on the road since the pandemic. They want to make it a big deal, but you can't make it a big deal if you're running it at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, that's not good.
So we got Lashing Out with Last Legend special guest Nikita Lyons. And what did you think of this, Kate?
It was so stupid.
Thank you.
First of all, before we get into anything,
on International Women's Day, I didn't want to be too cruel to these women.
I'll do it.
Okay,
so, good. First of all, I said this last week. I don't understand the production schedule of Lashing Out. They tape like 3 weeks. Oh yeah, we'll just get Linda back in here to talk about this. They tape like 3 weeks every 3 months. In their defense, they might have been on a weekly schedule, but their producer got kidnapped in an unfortunate series of events. Also, Lash Legend is a terrible host. She's very mean to her guests. She's threatening them. She basically insinuated that her mother is a...
She straight up called Nikita Lyons' mother a whore. She called her a whore. And where I come from, that is not the kind of behavior you exhibit when you invite somebody on your talk show. Sally Jesse Raphael would never.
No,
she would never.
This was like you know the Dr. Phil.
Yes.
Whose PhD I question.
Yes.
I'll say that.
Not it's really like a doctor, I'm assuming.
When you have 2 people on that show and they're fighting, but one of them is the host. In this case, it makes no sense. I don't like it. I'm pulling this up right now because I had this actual thought between 2 friends with Lash Legend. I was like, the only talk show host that I know that's an absolute jerk to their guests is Zach Galifianakis on Between Two Ferns, and it's the funniest thing ever. I don't understand why do we got to go through with a talk show, man? If you have a problem with Nikita Lyons, just call her out. You were just in a tag team tournament. Why you got to call her mama whore? Like, just fight her. just or say that in the ring. Why you got to do it on a talk show? That's weird. I don't like wrestling talk shows literally ever.
And then, apparently, from what I could gather from the tweeter, it's even worse that she called out Nikita Lyons for having butt implants. And I was like, well, that would explain it. But Nikita Lyons she swears that she's all natural. I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know if I buy that, but
is Lash Legend all natural? And why are we body shaming each other?
I honestly don't know, but
so stupid. Like, just no. I'm a unique individual in that I don't like wrestling talk shows, but I love wrestling weddings like so much. Every single bad, stupid one, every single fake, every single wedding that's gotten broken up. I love them. I love them.
I only enjoy the episodes of talk shows where somebody gets attacked and they break up a tag team by one man getting kicked through a barbershop window. Something like that.
That is very...
Just having somebody on to talk. We'll talk, no big whoop. I mean, that's not really a thing. Like, obviously, I don't like that kind of thing. But I like something that has the actual storyline progression behind it. I suppose these women are now going to fight each other and, like, hooray, but I don't understand why we had to do the talk show segment to get there.
LEC saying on International Women's Day.
Oh no, we've lost we've lost Kate. She's back. Hold on, she's back. I don't know what happened.
I can't that segment so much it broke my computer.
You just said I'm out. I'm out. I don't want any more. I'm leaving.
Oh no! You know what that was kind of like? Is a magic trick. And you know,
was a magic trick. You disappeared and then you reappeared.
You know what seems like magic? A protein-packed breakfast that is cleverly disguised in the taste of cereal.
Surely such a thing does not exist.
Well, it actually does. And it's called Magic Spoon, and Sean Ross Sapp is here to tell you all about it.
Cameo. What's up, you guys? It's Sean Ross Sapp. I'm not here physically on the show right now, but I still wanted to tell you about how I'm starting my day no matter where I am with delicious Magic Spoon cereal. 0 grams of sugar, 14 grams of protein, only 4 net grams of carbs in each serving, only 140 calories per serving. Keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, soy-free, low-carb. It is the ultimate breakfast food. It's the ultimate snack food, and it's the ultimate food for me to take while I'm traveling. Quick, easy, all the flavors you love. Peanut butter, blueberry, cinnamon, cookies and cream, maple waffle, cocoa, fruity, frosted, all over the place. That cookies and cream and maple waffle are back permanently. And if you go to magicspoon.com/Fightful, grab a custom bundle of cereal, try it today. Use our promo code FIGHTFUL at checkout to save $5 off your order if you don't like it. They are so confident in their product. It comes with a 100% happiness guarantee. They'll refund your money, no questions asked, if you don't like it, but you will. It's perfect before, after workouts, as a snack. And my favorite thing about it is you get filled up with one serving. It's not running back and forth to the cupboard to get more, racking up those carbs, racking up those calories. Magicspoon.com/Fightful. Use that code FIGHTFUL.
There you go.
There you go.
Use the code FIGHTFul. We love the Magic Spoon.
Yes. But yeah, so Lash Legend said, so I heard your mom was a groupie. Was she just following your dad around the country, or was she everybody's groupie? And then Nikita Lyons says, my mother was a free spirit, which is like, the answer then is B. So fine. It's okay. Yeah, it was a ridiculous segment. Especially on International Women's Day, as we've seen. Mark Losper says, WWE's dedication to women on International Women's Day is as hollow as their dedication to the Black community. during Black History Month. Pathetic.
I
And
can't
then-
wait to see what happens for like Asian Awareness Month because
well, yay. Mark Losper then also says, really excellent to see Vic Joseph solemnly talking about WWE's dedication to women on International Women's Day while cutting to Mandy Rose in the Toxic Lounge.
I can't handle the Toxic Lounge, by the way.
can't.
Like every time I'm like, why is there just a lounge at ringside?
Yeah.
You know what? When I just want like a sick drink and to go out with the girls and to dance, I'm like,
Yeah.
put it next to a wrestling ring.
Yeah. No.
Whoops.
Kate versus Wi-Fi. Josh
That
Williams says the Bears attacked Kate's Wi-Fi, but
I actually, what happened
They've
was,
come back for revenge.
now look at my face though. I get to have makeup on. You would never know.
You would never know.
Such good medical care I received.
Just like with me and a little concealer on the upper lip, you cannot tell. Electrolysis, my God.
Out of town with that. What happened was I accidentally clicked. You can make it
Yeah, I know.
do a back thing when you pull up a super or when
I
you pull
know.
a chat up, and I
Yeah.
was like, peace.
I was like, I have almost taken myself out of a one-person stream before. I was like, oh shit, that would have been bad.
you know
I
what
don't know
though?
what would have.
I think I pulled up Ali Cesa's chat, and she is actually training to be a wrestler, and
Ooh.
that might have been her finisher.
That
Was
might-
like
that
all
might have
she had
been
to
it.
do
That might
was
have been
come
it.
in with like a fire chat, and it ended me. So
That might have been it. You know what's not it for me?
what's not it, Alex/Linda, whoever you choose to be?
This Grayson Waller deal. When he took out Johnny Gargano, I was like, well, I guess that's it. They've picked out who their top heel is. They're going to push this guy to the moon. And then they were like, we're going to have him start a feud with AJ Styles. And I was like, all right, I don't think this kid is ready for it, but they're going to put him over AJ Styles. This is going to be a big deal. And he just fucking lost. He just lost. And then they were like,
Fucking loser, it turns out.
yeah, turns out big old loser. And then he enters into a feud with Larry Knight, and Larry Knight beats his ass all over the ring several weeks in a row. So I'm going to get a restraining order on him and hire this big guy as my bodyguard, what makes him look weak and ineffectual and not like a top heel in my eyes. And then they do this last man standing match, and of course he is literally saved by his big bodyguard guy on several occasions, where he was knocked off of the top of the risers off the back and was caught ostensibly and brought back to the ring. And then he fished a blackjack. They used to call it a Sapp, a loaded metal thing inside a leather pouch.
A Sean Ross one?
Yeah. And he hit Larry Knight with that, and hit his giant elbow off the top rope, which looked very, very impressive. And then the only reason he was able to actually get on his feet for the end of the last man standing match is he crawled up the back of his bodyguard who was handcuffed to the ring post. And he was able to get to his tippy toes. Wasn't really even standing up by 9.5. And so he won. And I mean, great, I guess. But is the feud over or is it continuing? That seems like a feud ending thing. Is Larry Knight getting called up? If he is, that's fine. He's great. He should be on the main roster. Should never even come to NXT. Should have gone to the main roster when he signed. But Grayson Waller still doesn't feel special. He felt like when he attacked Johnny Gargano, whether I liked it or not, he felt like he was inevitable of being the guy who was going to eventually dethrone Braun Breaker. Now he feels like just another dude, and people are like, but listen how he's getting booed, and people hate him. Like, there's a difference. MJF is a very hateable heel, but every time he has a feud, I can't wait to see the next guy who he gets into a feud with, who I will then want to see kick MJF's ass. I want to see Grayson Waller get his ass kicked, and then disappear from my television forever. Like, that's a different thing. Like, that one time only. You get your ass whipped and you get your comeuppance, and I never want to see you again. That's not a good heel. That's just a guy who I want to see get his ass kicked.
So in an effort to check myself, because I always want to be honest with my wrestling opinions, right? I was like, why when MJF, because that's immediately who came to my mind too. I was like, how come when Wardlow has been interfering on his behalf, it hasn't bothered me? And how come with Sanga, it has? And to me, the difference is, one, I don't think Sanga is very good. Two, I think he's interfering too much. And three, as much as MJF has needed Wardlow to win in matches, it's very apparent to the viewer he doesn't need Wardlow. Like in real life. You know what I mean? Like, MJF could be a standalone heel and great at this.
MJF chooses to win by cheating because it makes him feel that much better that he took a shortcut to beat you, because it's like, I choose to screw you over because screw you, as opposed to Grayson Waller, who could not possibly get a victory if it was not for this guy.
And it's smart. He's smart when he has people interfere and when he cheats. Whereas Grayson Waller, it feels like he doesn't have any control over the landscape, and he's in developmental. Like, maybe that's something he's supposed to be learning, but right now the picture is just so incomplete for me because they pushed him way too fast. The Gargano stuff was one choice. Having him fight AJ Styles at all was another choice. Giving him Sanga was another choice. And the fact that Sanga just, to me, from what I've seen, is just not there. And neither is Grayson Waller. That's just not working. It's not working for me. I do give it a little more patience and time because it's supposed to be a developmental program. So maybe things will mature and progress. But for right now, this didn't work. And
Grayson Waller has the kind of heat you would have 40 years ago, where you would bring a guy in to work the territory for 2 months, and he would get everybody to hate him, and then the top baby face would beat him, and then he'd take his money and go somewhere else. That's what they used to do when they had the territories. You would bring a guy in to work the territory as the heel. He'd make up the whole local crowd hate him, and eventually he'd get beat, and then he'd leave. Like, he wasn't just around now moving on to another guy to face. Like, that's just not how it used to work. And this is what this guy does. I think he would have been a natural in that time because everybody would have wanted him to get the hell out. And he's very good at getting that reaction. But I honestly do not want to see him face anybody else. I just want to see him get his ass beat and then go away.
Well, so that's the other part of this, is it's been such a the other thing that I was trying to gnaw on was, like, if you put anybody here, is this compelling because of what they've done? Halloween Havoc host is not something great to fight over. Taking a detour with AJ Styles over nothing when you're that far behind, not great. And a restraining order is really, really stupid. So I think it's all of these factors. I don't think Sanga's wrestling is ready. I don't think Grayson Waller is ready, and the story has not been great. So there's no one part of that whole recipe has to work for it to work. And as far as the LA Knight stuff goes, I completely agree with you. He should be called up to the main roster. He should have been in NXT.
Hugely over in this match. Like, he is a baby face to this crowd. They love him. They were chanting "Yaz" along with everything. Like, there were when it was him standing up and Grayson Waller on the floor, and the ref was counting 1, 2, 3, 4. After every count, it was like 1, yeah. The crowd would like do "Yaz" after every count. Like, he's super over. I don't know what else you wanted. I don't know what he's doing here.
He could be so valuable in the mid card picture up on the main roster. So I do hope that they call him up.
Mark Losper says the difference is that MJF is a compelling character with or without interference. Grayson Waller is as compelling as chewing gum stuck to my shoe. Whatever. We got another guy who's to me has go away heat for another reason, because the character is just so stupid and dumb. But apparently they're trying to book him as a babyface, even though he's mean. Andre Chase has an actual university. Like, it's not like, hey, I rented this room at the local community college. Like, they show establishing shots of an outdoor courtyard with all the students passing through it on their way to class. And he's they cheer for him in the matches, but in these segments he calls one of his students a dumb motherfucker. I mean, they bleep it, but that's what he says. And it's a weird thing to do to me. I don't know why you do this.
It's like whiplash. It's tough because
I see some of this stuff on my timeline that people like the vignettes. Like, more power to her. Like, Violet, your mileage may vary. I think they're dreck. Like, there's nothing redeeming about them at all to me. I think they're poorly written, poorly acted, and I do not know what they are achieving. Are they trying to make him a guy you root for or root against? Because I don't understand what they are. I don't know what they are.
It's weird to devote. There's a couple of things that disconnect for me. One is he has done nothing but job. So it's just weird when you're devoting this much story to someone who's doing nothing but jobbing.
Sure.
The second thing is, it's for me, and I think some people are on one side of the fence and some people are on the other, but I'm right on that fence of in AEW, the Dark Order did not initially work for me. And then when they went full tilt silly, it worked. If Chase University had a bookstore and we were getting like Chase University, like at Chase University, learn whatever, I could probably get into it if they committed
they're
like the full cheese. Well, because I don't think it was supposed to be cheesy initially. Yeah. So I don't think there's any clarity around that. Like that, I could actually get very into if it was like dorky TV as you saw all the time and stuff like that. But it's just if story is going to work if the only thing this teacher is ever going to do is job. Because
if Chase University was one of those things of like East, West, Southern New Hampshire University, where you can get your degree in just 3 weeks. Like, it's like those weird things like, apply online. Like if it was
Full Sail University.
Like that.
Like where they ran the show.
Where they ran the show, then it might actually work. Wait, the Chase U segment wasn't an SNL sketch? Well, they do this thing was like Bodie Hayward has the eye makeup they have on his damaged eye looks as bad as Sokoa's burn scars from a few weeks ago. But like, he's hold on, how many fingers am I holding up? And Bodie directly says one. And then he flips off the guy who asked, was like, hey, should you be so mean to Bodie? Because he's got, I'm not being mean to him. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm sorry. I don't get it.
Yeah, it is just like, you can't be the professor of something you're so bad at. And if you ironically are, that needs to be clear. Like, it's just disconnected. And if he's only going to job, there's not a vignette in the world that can save him.
Right. No, that's true. Mark Losper says, I don't know what they achieve is the key point to the entirety of this promotion. They just do stuff. There's no goal or purpose in mind. Just stuff happens. Nothing's actually achieved by it.
It is developmental, so I try to keep that in mind as things go along. Like, there's going to be more failure here because they're going to try weirder stuff. But at the same time, if you're supposed to be developing people for the main roster and this is what you're developing, not great. Yeah. Not great for the future of the company.
No. Bill says, I prefer the bleeding fingers of Whiplash. Yeah. Anyway, nothing. There's no need to talk about this anymore. No. We got a Tony D vignette, and we'll talk about this. He's back to his roots, talking about the family.
Yeah.
This is my cousin's place. I got the baked ziti. It's my usual. And he's at a restaurant, an Italian restaurant. Says, "Yeah, the former owner of this place, he didn't want to play ball no more, so I had to have a conversation with him, and let's just say he had a change of heart." So this is cousin Mikey's place, I think.
It's so much better hearing you do this with the wig on.
It's true.
Why isn't everyone in the chat sending these emojis?
Give me these.
Come on.
Put one of these in the chat. Come on.
Put one of these in the chat, you mother.
But he says, I'm going to have a big time match at Stand Deliver. We haven't seen that yet. Maybe he's going to be one of the guys in the North America. I want this guy at the top of the card. Like, if you're going to call up Braun Breaker, like, put the damn belt on, like the top belt on Tony D'Angelo. Why the hell not? Because I'm also assuming they're going to call up Carmelo Hayes sooner than later as well. But it does feel like, to me, like Tony D'Angelo is a guy who's going to be in NXT for a year and a half. So why not make him the top champ? But anyway, before that, though, I really need him to be North American champion so he can be the Italian American champion. Like, if he becomes North American champion, I'm just going to spam reply to all of his tweets with, you should totally, the idea is that you should be the Italian American champion. You should like paint the thing with like the colors of the Italian flag. It would be really, really good. You should do this. I'm gonna make it happen. But I love this. He also says he's going to be the Don of NXT 2.0. And I love, if he's ever the top champion, he will be the Don. And I think that's a really cool thing. I'm so into it. Spine on the Pine says,
I love that people in the chat, we bullied them.
Yeah, we did. He says, now that Tony owns a restaurant, he should have a finisher called the Tiramisu Plex. Huh? Love you.
I'm cool so sad I didn't think of that. Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah. It's good. Tiramisu Plex is pretty great. The Nerd Guru says, interesting thought I had. Imagine NXT 2.0 started pre-pandemic or, during the height of the pandemic, and they had to give us 2.0 style cinematic matches. Tony D's restaurant match. Where they could just, I wonder
if that would be better.
I don't know.
Or would it just be people having sex?
It would just be people having sex. It would just be that. But no, I'm very excited for Tony D to get back in the ring and do some get another storyline going. I thought he did a really good job in his stuff with Pete Dunne, which is with Petey Poppins. But he'll be back in the ring before too long, and then hey, it's gonna be a good time.
It's the wig. I can't. When we get to the Wheel of Impressions and you have to do Tony D things, you have to put the glasses on too.
All right. We got the TikTok tag team versus Io Shirai and KLR. This is where they cut to Mandy Rose still in the TikTok lounge. No Gigi and JJ, and I was like, are they going to interfere in this match too? But they did not. But earlier in the night, when they first did the first Lady Dusty match, there were two random dudes in Chippendales outfits, like holding a bottle of champagne and some hors d'oeuvres or whatever. I was like, all right, I guess International Women's Day, I suppose. But then they cut back to her.
We just want to get paid the same. We don't need dudes in Chippendales outfits, honestly.
No, see, this is the thing, we all say we equal pay for equal work, and they say, how about a Chippendales guy? And I guess, I mean, if that's your best offer,
just like same dollar to dollar. That's all I ask.
So, we see Idris Enofe and Malik Blade, who, by the way, if you don't remember, Malik Blade got a boner when Mandy Rose accidentally fell into his lap. That was a thing about a month ago.
He used the code Fightful at Blue Chew Check.
And they apparently knocked out the two other guys like like then stole their outfits so that they could be up there. And I was like, what do you hope to achieve by being up there? Again, what is achieved by this? But anyway, they're up there, and at one point Malik Blade offers her grapes and champagne, and she's like, "Nah, I'm good." And that was it. Like, it was just a visual thing by them being up there, but they didn't really do anything.
Like, you have them win twice with screwy finishes and then a boner thing. And then I am your toxic lounge. Like, if you have your own lounge, you should be able to staff it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird. Earlier in the night, by the way, we should say that there was, I honestly thought, a pretty cool little segment where we were looking via a cameraman from outside the trainer's room through the glass doors all the way in the back where they were attending to the Creed brothers. And this is after the first Lady Dusty match. And then past the cameraman comes Cora Jade and Raquel Gonzalez into the training room. And I thought that was a cool little establishing shot. Like, yeah, okay. Like, I like the idea that this is a living, breathing location. Like, things happen here, as opposed to, let's set up a camera in front of this same bay of lockers. Like, you could actually do something that actually felt more cinematic, and I appreciate that. But it is important to know that Cora Jade was very, very upset that somebody had attacked her best friend, Raquel Gonzalez, which will come in handy by the end of this match. The TikTok tag team versus Io and KLR is very, very good. I think it might be one of the best matches the TikTok tag team has ever had. It includes a Doomsday Poison Rana, which I thought murdered for realsies Kaylee Ray. Like, she took that like on the very, like, her neck was like, I'm good. I'll be fine now.
I was legitimately very nervous for her.
Yeah. It was like she watched some of the head and neck bumps that happened on Revolution and was like,
I was thinking, I think she was like, I see your Spanish fly onto the tables on the stage. And...
Yeah. And after that, that was a hell of a near fall, because Io Shirai was able to dive back in and shove Kaden onto Casey, who's making the pinfall to break up the pin. And she's able to dispense with Kaden after that, and then they do double finishers, the Kaylee Ray bomb and the moonsault to pin Casey Catanzaro. It was a really good match, but the team we all knew that was going to win won. And then we see after the match. Well, I'll let you give your thoughts on the match.
No, I thought this was one of the strongest matches we've seen out of the TikTok tag team, and I thought probably the strongest match of the tournament. I think it's probably fair to say so far, unless I'm forgetting something. But this was great. I kind of wish this was the first match in the show, though, from both an excitement standpoint in the show order and from, like you said, the booking standpoint. So yeah, no complaints about this. I don't mind predictable when it's good, but I mind predictable when it's good and the losing team has nowhere to go because there's not really a division here. So yeah. But from what I saw in front of me, fantastic.
Mark Losper says the Poison Rana was brought to you by Naito and Ibushi.
If only they had New Japan talent on the roster, that could help these things happen more. But instead, they're wearing bunny jackets.
Yeah, man. So after the match, we see Mandy Rose in the Toxic Lounge.
The TikToxic Lounge.
The TikToxic Lounge. Sorry, I'm all mixed up. But she's up there saying, very good, very good. And then from out of nowhere, Cora Jade, who has showered and changed, flies into the scene and starts beating the hell out of Mandy Rose. And then Malik Blade is like, "No, that's my girlfriend, and I love her so much." Like a weird, creepy guy. He pulls off Cora Jade off of Mandy Rose. Like, no. Mandy Rose deserves this. She deserves to be beaten up all the time. But it was very odd that Malik Blade was like, "No, please don't hurt her. I love her so much." It felt very desperate the way he was breaking them up. But, whatever.
I have overarching security concerns about all of NXT, to be honest. Between the parking lot and nobody guarding the Toxic Lounge, there's not a bouncer at the Toxic Lounge. I feel like there should be a sexy pool at the Toxic Lounge for Mandy. If it's sticking around, at least give her her pool. She loves her pool.
Oh, yeah. They should put like a hot tub up there.
Yeah.
That's good. James Barrow says, "I just woke up. Kalex is still going? Not surprised. 7-hour show. Let's go." We are only 1 hour and 10 minutes into this show, people.
We did, however, do 7 hours of content.
We did 7 hours of content from Friday through Sunday.
We were making up for all the time I couldn't talk.
Right. Also, we got in serious trouble for doing a 3-hour post-Revolution show. But it was a 5 hour. It was 5 hours long. We talked about 5 hours in the span of 3 hours. That's pretty good for us.
And with a lot of super chats.
There were super
very
chats
excited.
all the way to the end, and we did not lose anybody until like the last 15 minutes of the show. Like we were over.
Not to put us over, and I don't want to sound like that, but considering it was a 3-hour show, the fact that there's 35,000 views on it, like, I mean this from like my heart is warmed.
Oh yeah,
perspective, not a look at us perspective. It means so much to me that, because I think you have to have been watching for an hour and a half for it to register as a view. That means it means so much that people were tuned in for that. But for us, that was pretty good. It just happened to be that we went till like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
So we're rated.
I mean, yeah. So we get a Persia and Indi segment. This is fully NXT 2.0. 2.0 Divas. 2.0 Divas is what this is. Indi's there and she's watching the end of the match on her iPad. I guess. I mean, I don't know if she's watching it on Peacock, because that seems like it would be impossible. Peacock is terrible. But she's watching the end of the match, and she's watching Persia get pinned, and watching herself like be really, really late to break up a pinfall. Like, as much fault as it is Persia's, it's also her fault.
Yeah.
But then Persia comes in with Duke and says, "Where have you been?" Like, "Oh, we had such a great weekend. We went to the beach and hot air balloon, had a dinner, starlight dinner." And like, what aren't you upset that we lost? Of course I'm upset, but Duke has been helping me forget all about that. You're just jealous. No, I'm not. I think he's a creep. The fact that like they're both Australian and don't sound at all like that, but also sounded exactly like that, is the problem with this shit. Like, anyway, they decide that they're going to have a match next week, I think. Like, they've broken them up. They're real life, really great friends who work together in Australia. They're here together. Let's break them up. That sounds a lot like Billy Kay and Peyton Royce to me, but why not? Why not break up an actual tag team that's really talented and good together?
Yeah, because that worked so well last time.
Yeah.
And, it's probably just because the NXT women's division is lousy with tag teams. Oh, wait, no, it's not. We have no tag teams on either roster, but we have so many women with nothing to do.
Yeah.
What? Like, what? And listen to me, Persia. You go on one good date with a guy and you're turning your back on your friend? That seems stupid. Do you learn anything, like, in life? No.
She also says, then Indi just storms off, and Duke's like, you're going to need a training partner. And she's like, "Let's start now." And she shoves them up against the lockers, and they just deep throat each other. And it's just like, And this is when I tweeted out, literally in all caps, why is everyone so horny? Like, I do not, what am I watching? This does not feel like, it feels like, again, it feels like a bad reality show or a teen drama that also has wrestling in it. It doesn't feel like a wrestling show that dabbles in other things. It just...
No, and sadly, when Pineapple Pete, if you remember Pineapple Pete, also known as Suge Knight, sat in with Sean, I think it was for the List and Your Boy, he said that when he was there as an enhancement talent, they told him, we're an entertainment show that happens to have a wrestling ring.
Yeah.
Which simultaneously broke my heart, but makes so much sense here, where it's like the majority of what they're trying to get across is this high school thing, and the way they settle scores happens to be in the ring. That's just a betrayal of everything that I've grown to know about professional wrestling, where the story is told in the ring. I'm a CM Punk girl. I'm an Eddie Kingston girl. I like it when people want to fight in the ring. So this just is super not for me.
Yeah.
And I also think, I don't know, Persia, learn something about female friendships. When does it help to prioritize a boy? On International Women's Day?
Yeah, she says...
in this economy?
She says, I have always supported you and Dexter. Why don't you support me and Duke? Famous Australian Mark Losper says, this segment was an affront to my heritage. And Josh Weaver says, the Iconics 2.0 gets split up on NXT 2.0. Makes total sense. I do think there's an outside chance that that Persia realized that Duke is a skeeve, and she apologizes to Persia.
I think
they get back together, and they're stronger than ever. I think there's a chance they do that, but I don't trust them to do that because they like breaking up tag teams. That's a thing they like to do. So
I cannot believe I said Suge Knight instead of Suge Norton. It's because of that NXT parking lot, guys.
Mark Losper says, entertainment companies are supposed to be entertaining, and these guys aren't. So
that is a fair argument.
Yeah. So yeah. I think Mark Losper says that Indi was using NordVPN promo code Fightful to watch the match on WWE Network.
Well, I appreciate that. Step off. Segues are my thing.
Step off was very good. You sounded very forceful.
That's
very good. I like that a lot.
If this was WWE, I would have said, step off, bitch.
Yeah.
It's because of you people that I even have to make these segues.
Bill says, I just wanted to say dollary dues. Which is great.
Dollary due.
So yes. It is basically that everyone is a suspect. Imperium is a suspect for attacking White AOP.
Who done it?
Double Vest in the Beach, Legato. MSK just shows up during an interview with Imperium. We haven't seen them in a long time. And they're like, hey guys, we know you did it. And the Creed brothers might be hurt, but we're not. So we're going to take their title shot. And I'm just like, is there nobody here who's an authority figure at all? Like, no. You just decide, hey, you guys were supposed to have a title match. Now it's ours. And when we beat you, we're going to give the Creed brothers the first shot when they're healthy. And like, are you making two matches now? One now and one in the future? Are you just allowed to do that? Why did you get rid of William Regal and not replace him with anybody else who can make matches on screen?
With literally anybody. There's not even a challenge and then somebody in the back makes you know what I mean? There's not even like a shadow figure that makes matches.
Yeah. Anyway.
War games.
So we get Imperium versus MSK for the tag titles. And it's good. Wes Lee is out of this world great. I am convinced though that they are going to turn MSK heel, that they were the ones who attacked the Creed brothers, because then they're like, hey, we know you guys did it. And now we get a tag title shot. So it feels to me like they're going to turn them heel. And I don't feel like you should or need to. Like, they're
Barf. No, I hate that.
like are you going to call them up at any point? Because they're definitely going to play as baby faces on the main roster. I know, like, enough of your regular audience has decided for whatever reason that MSK is just not for them and will boo them whatever they do, which means you guys need to not run this team in this location. And guess what? The main roster could do with a little fresh injection of talent. How about putting MSK on the main roster and having them run against the Usos for a while? That would be awesome, because guess what? There's nobody left for the Usos to face on SmackDown. They faced them all. Well, how about MSK debuts, I don't know, Friday? And they're like, we're former NXT champions, and we want you. And they have them beat, I don't care who, Humberto and Angel Garza. They're not going anywhere. Have them beat them in a qualifying match, and they're number one contenders, MSK versus the Usos, on night whatever of WrestleMania. Give them 12 minutes and tell them to go at full speed. It'll be the best match on the card by leaps and bounds. Instead, they're probably going to turn them heel, and they'll be in a dead-end heel hacked, because you can't do their kind of wrestling as heels and have it work at all.
So there's a few things there. Their inability to build heels doesn't affect MSK just from the fact that they're not going to be a good heel team. If you wanted to turn them back face, you could do that if you had built a proper heel team,
Right.
which they refuse to do.
Right.
To me, MSK versus Street Profits is like a dream match. I also wouldn't hate seeing them on Raw. But it's just so hard because there's so many people I feel like that have run their course. But then if you call them up, what are you even doing?
Yeah.
But then what's the point of NXT, right? So I think this all could be solved by just leave them alone. You know who else gets booed by a certain group of people all the time? John Cena did. The Young Bucks certainly do.
Yep.
But the thing is, the Young Bucks are great at taking those criticisms and turning it up to 1,000 and working as a heel team.
Right.
But they also work really good as faces. If you
Sure.
do a story properly.
Yeah.
MSK is, to me, like the most obvious face team in the world. So I don't know. I think they got themselves mired in fake crowd anger a little bit too far. Like, I think it's
which is why I thought they took them off of TV and had them do all those vignettes to search for the shaman who was supposed to be Jeff Hardy but wound up being Matt Riddle, and then they came back and like didn't do anything with them. So I don't know what any of that was supposed to
if
be.
It was with Jeff Hardy, they would have been super face because Jeff was getting such great reactions. But if you tell the story the right way, it doesn't matter. If you tell the story the right way, MJF is a heel or is a face for a week. You know what I mean? Against CM Punk. Like, if you tell the story the right way, the parts don't even matter as much.
Right.
So just if all they need to do is have, if they were against a vicious heel team, not like an Imperium, someone with some teeth, it would be fine.
Yeah.
But here we are.
Josh Weaver says, if there was ever a time to introduce an anonymous GM.
I don't know if Swoggle's available, man.
I don't know. Yeah. So the match is very good for however long it lasts. And then the Creed brothers show up with like kinesio tape on their ribs and shoulders, and they take out everybody. I would have been kind of cool if they like pushed past Imperium and beat the hell out of MSK because they know who attacked them. That would be kind of cool, but they just beat up everybody. And they throw some wild ass out of control suplexes. Like poor Fabian Eichner like went ass over tea kettle in the weirdest way and landed almost on his head. That was scary. But we got the Creed brothers standing tall after throwing everybody around. So we're probably going to get a triple threat match at Stand and Deliver is what I'm thinking. So there you go.
Yeah, this is, well, We'll get into it later.
Yeah. Mark Losper says MSK have been learning from John Cena. About how to,
John Cena's was a product of booking. MSK's was a product of
just
poisoning the well.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Caesar says, wait. You don't want more Usos in the New Day? There's so much left to tell there.
The problem is they put on great matches whenever they happen.
Every single time.
There's part of me that does want to see it just from the in-ring chemistry that they have, though I am very, 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 very sick of the story, but they don't tell other good stories, so I would rather just see great in-ring.
The thing about it is that we've seen the Usos versus Kofi and Xavier a lot recently, while they forced Big E to be on another show where they swore up and down they were going to turn him into a major single star. So that's why they had to be separated. But now that Big E's back on SmackDown, I wouldn't mind seeing Big E tangle with the Usos for a while, because I haven't seen that version of the New Day versus the Usos. If I have to see it, just make sure Big E is in every match. That's all I would say about that.
Make sure Big E's in every match all the time.
Just make that, yes, and also has a title on him, and then push him. So we also got A Kid.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for this.
A Kid is coming to NXT.
Now, I don't know why a kid would want to wrestle. I mean, I know the Nick Way, and he's very young, but a child? Why would a kid want to wrestle? He's just going to get hurt out there. Is this the -1? The -1 child? Brody Lee's son? Is he coming? Why would Brody Lee Jr. jump from AEW to NXT? I don't understand. I saw on the Twitter, a kid is coming to NXT, and I think that's very unsafe. His parents should be questioned about their choices, because I think that a kid could just get obliterated out there. Imagine a kid against Gunther. Gunther would just chop him into next week. That'd be a terrible thing to do to a kid.
I am so mad I didn't see that coming. With myself.
I had that one in the chamber since I saw the segment on.
Yeah. Oh, Linder, I think it's like A Kid. Oh. Like he's like an A+ type of thing. Like he's top of the card guy kind of.
Not
thing.
A B+ kid, but an A kid.
No, not one of those B+ players. But I'll tell you what, that B+ player, actually one of the best wrestlers that ever lived. So.
No, he's very, very good. I've seen some of his stuff in NXT UK, so he's coming stateside. He's going to be here, and guess what?
He's facing Kushida.
He's facing Kushida in his first match in NXT, and Kushida's probably going to lose, because that makes probably the most sense.
Oh, it's going to be such a good match.
It's going to be such a good match, and Kushida, after that match, after it's so great and everything, if you need help getting out of the country, I can try and arrange passage for you as a stowaway on a Steamliner to go literally anywhere else that's not Florida, because they do not recognize how great Kushida is. There's a backstage segment that is incomprehensibly terrible, where they're watching the footage of A Kid, and it's just Ikemen Jiro just going, just yelling. I don't know what he's yelling.
That he's so excited.
Yeah, he said, "I'm so excited. He's really, really, really good," and then he's really great, but just in a way that doesn't. It feels like he's like extra overacting, like he always overacts, but it's like he's extra overacting here. And Kushida's like, "Yeah, he's good. You think you're better than A Kid?" And I'm like, "Yeah, he's Kushida.
Yeah,
he's also your tag team partner." Like, I don't know. Like, listen, A Kid's great. He's 24 years old. He's going to be one of the best in the world. He's a child. That's what he is. But maybe Jacket Time did it. Maybe they're the ones who attacked the Creed brothers.
Juvenile. Oh, I would actually love that. And then they just ripped off their jackets and we're done with the shit. That would be nice.
Josh Weaver says, Jacket Time did it. They were way too interested in that TV show in the A Kid vignette backstage. They're trying to Oh, who, us? No, we're not involved at all. Yeah, that's
It
what
was
is.
jacket time with the rope in the corridor, I tell you.
In the conservatory.
In the conservatory, like Chase University is a
Yeah,
conservatory.
the batted to one Jam Beard says it's not -1. It's Nicholas, Braun's old partner.
It's not that. See, now that's ridiculous. We know it was little Jimmy.
You and your little Jimmy.
Good night.
We also got a random backstage thing where Draco Anthony is lifting weights, and Draco Anthony is lifting weights
like one does.
Like one does. Like overhead presses with dumbbells.
Mhm.
And behind him is Harland, just standing there menacingly. And when he's done doing his set, he gets up and turns around, and there's Harland. And he's surprised that he's there. But there's literally no way he could have gotten to that position in the room without walking past Draco Anthony first. If you look at like where the exits of the room are,
You're right.
He could not have gotten there unless he was invisible. If Draco Anthony was sitting there doing reps, it was a very odd thing.
Did you consider for a moment that perhaps he's invisible?
I guess
People are like
I had not.
spitting mist and transforming. It's very possible he just turned invisible at one point.
Joe Gacy and Harland are still trying to recruit Draco Anthony, and then Zion Quinn shows up fresh off of being rebuffed by Elektra Lopez about a month and a half ago. And he's like, hey, don't listen to these guys. These guys are weird. You believe in yourself. He almost said, control your own narrative. He didn't say that, though, but he could have. This was a ridiculous segment. They didn't need this thing. You know what's even more ridiculous? According to Mike Johnson, there's been some talk about bringing old Harland up to the main roster, having him work some dark matches as a tryout for the main roster, because Harland is so ready. We've seen from all of his matches that he's really ready to do wrestling.
He's only ever looked bad.
He's only ever looked bad.
And he
has
should.
never once looked good.
He has been in like 5 matches. So he kind of should. But I was also bothered by the fact that it didn't say Joe Gacy and Harland. And I'm like, you know that Joe Gacy is the only reason any of this works.
Yeah.
So
Bill says that Jacket Time couldn't have committed the assault because whenever they commit a crime, they leave tiny jackets behind as a tease to the investigating officers. Oh my God, it's the jacket guys again. They can't help leaving their calling card.
In my head, they write notes, but like in fabrics.
Yes. Yeah. And Josh Weaver says Jacket Time is pushing too close to Kai and Tai territory for me. Yeah, it's bad.
It's not great, my friend.
So that was everything except for the main event.
It's time for the main event.
Dolph Ziggler is your new WWE NXT 2.0 champion.
Okay, before we dive in, we should also mention for people who don't watch Raw, but most of you don't watch this show, so I don't know what to say, but like Braun Breaker made his debut, and so I think what's happening is he's getting called up to the main roster, which falls in line with my prediction that he would dethrone Roman at SummerSlam, so I kind of like it. But him dropping the title is like, I don't want to say it's him going out on his back because it doesn't feel like he's been there that long, but it kind of makes sense in that context if they're calling him up like that.
Yes.
And when I heard that A-Kid was coming over, I was like, I wonder if we're gonna get Ziggler versus A-Kid. Because I would not hate that.
I think the latest date that Ziggler holds that title is
next Wednesday.
No, is the stand and deliver.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll drop it back to Braun Breaker. They're gonna. I think that they'll run it where Braun shows up on Raw and they run this feud on 2 nights a week, to give Braun what he's supposed to have, which is, you know, a lot of TV time. I think that
I did not.
yeah, well, I haven't gotten a raise in years, so I'm pretty sure that he's just actually raised me up to the level at which you were hired. But then again, you know, it's International Women's Day, so
I'm angling for myself here.
I
Kayfabe, bro,
understand.
back me up. I know
I
I haven't
understand.
even been here a year yet, but still.
I understand. Anyway, I think that Braun is gonna get a lot more TV time on Raw to like build him up, and I think he might wind up on Raw and NXT, like what I think they had originally planned to do with Karrion Kross before they decided, you know what, let's just screw with everything ahead of time. Because when he debuted on the main roster wearing the belt, and they were like, well, what if he lost though? Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous. But anyway, this match was great. The match was great. It's a triple threat. It was really well done.
It was really
good. And Dolph Ziggler looked the best. They allowed Dolph Ziggler to look the best he has to me in years in this match.
Yeah, and the last one too. Like when it was the match with just him and Ciampa. I thought it was fantastic.
Looked great in that too. I would be surprised if Dolph was a long-term guy in NXT. But if you're gonna have a veteran who can work, who could be the heel that all the young guys want to face, like you could sell me on him just being in NXT as the champion and working with a bunch of guys for, I don't know, 8 months. It might work. You know,
I think I agree with you that this is going to be hot potatoed. I don't know if it's going to be to Ciampa. I don't think so.
Right.
It's just interesting because I feel like Carmelo's probably poised to go up.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. It surprised the hell out of me, but I don't hate it by any means. I think he's so fantastic. He's not really doing anything on the main roster. He's someone that can work with any ring style. Like if there's someone that you want actively working with young talent that is green and growing, like Grayson Waller might actually be able to learn something from Dolph Ziggler, like that he's not getting anywhere else right now, because Dolph Ziggler is also, in my opinion, a fantastic heel. So I just feel like it was a surprising move. I don't think it's the worst move. I thought the match was so good. Again, styles make matchups. All three of these guys work differently, but both have command over the different styles that they worked. Yeah. Breaker made some really fun facial expressions in this match too. Like when he didn't have control of the match, he was like, "What the hell, man?" Very, very fun. So this is interesting. I just don't know what this means, if they're gonna do like you said, like if it's gonna be on two separate brands, or if it's like Breaker's going there, Ziggler's here, and we'll see what happens. So I don't know if they know that. But I loved the main event. Some really just great wrestling in this.
There was some great wrestling back and forth. A lot of really good stuff. The thing really took a turn when Rude showed up, pulled the ref out as Breaker was going to pin Ziggler.
Thank you for reminding me of my only thing about this that made me really nervous is, what do you do with Bobby Roode? Because he deserves to be doing something more than being Dolph Ziggler's hype man.
I mean, that's your opinion, but I mean, whatever.
Just let him be glorious again, then.
I mean, I guess I've been tired of Robert Roode since like 2018. So like he's whatever. He anyway, he gets involved too much. The ref should have kicked him out, but didn't. The ref, he literally pulled the ref out of the ring. I know it's no DQ. You can't disqualify the guy he helped, but you can absolutely send the dude to the back.
Guy out. Yeah.
And he didn't. So later, when he pulls Braun out of the ring so that Ciampa can't pin him, and then Ziggler super kicks Ciampa and then pins Ciampa, Like, because you didn't kick the guy out 3 minutes earlier when he pulled you out of the ring, then he can cost Breaker and Ciampa the title as well. So whatever. I am, oh God, I shouldn't do this. I should never, ever, 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 ever assume anything good about this company. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt for like 3 more weeks and see where this goes. I don't think that we're going to. There are so many bad ways this could break. But if what they're going to do is just try and figure out a way to like Braun Breaker chasing the title being held by Dolph Ziggler with a guy, Robert Roode, who has no qualms about getting involved in the match over and over again. That's the way they like to build baby faces. It's the only way they like to build baby faces is a guy fighting from underneath against the damn numbers game. That's the only way they know how to build baby faces. But that's how they build their top baby faces. It never actually works. But like it shows they want to do the thing that they do that they think works to build a new top guy, which Braun Breaker deserves, but I think he could have gotten over, shocker, by himself by just being friggin' awesome, which he has been for like the past 6 months.
I agree with you, but there is something that I don't hate about him chasing, because he doesn't seem like the kind of guy that would be chasing. Like, based on his style, based on his promos, based on his physique, he doesn't seem like, it doesn't feel pathetic yet.
Right, but they had Roman Reigns chase for years and
that
years
is true.
and years.
But
he's not a guy who looks like
the title, like, I think the longest this goes, I really think he's dethroning Reigns at SummerSlam. I really do. I know
this particular. I want him to. This particular decision makes me think there's no way, not a chance. He's going to be involved in this bullshit for the next 9 to 12 months.
But Roman's involved up till Mania. Like, I don't think it's that long. Like, I think this just gets us to Stand and Deliver, and then I think you get.
I hope that's the case. I think they might have a little bit more fun with it because they think that's good. Anyway, we got a lot of super chats and 18 minutes to get through them. So
okay, let's go.
We're going to do this now. There's a lot of conflicting viewpoints on this whole Dolph Ziggler situation. The Line Drive says, Dolph winning the title is the decision that broke me. I'm sorry, but screw this show if your top championship is in the hands of a perpetual loser whose presence drags every program he's in down into the muck. Screw NXT. Now, listen, you're not wrong, because that is how they've promoted Dolph Ziggler for a long time. I do think tonight he looked really, really great, and I know he can be great. He just isn't presented that way, and that's a problem. So let's figure this out. JW Pringle says, do you think Dolph and Mandy reminisce about when they dated and her best friend screwed over Otis? Nah, that never happened. That's a thing that never happened. That was only 2 years ago. That never happened. MJ Johnson says, I just got off work. Ziggler did what? Yep.
There is at least, I'll say this, if they were trying to get people that don't normally watch the program to be surprised by something,
yes,
I saw a lot of that on Twitter.
Yep.
So good for them. Like, this did catch some people off guard.
Maybe people will tune in to watch the show next week.
Or buy tickets to a show that starts at 10 in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that might drive some people into the stadium for real.
Anton HHH says, so happy to see the future of this business, Dolph Ziggler, being put over tonight. Tom Brady says, give me Walter destroying Ziggler's chest. Man, Ziggler bumping for a Walter chop might be the greatest thing ever. Yeah, I thought that we were going to do the Walter Gunther thing.
I don't even hate the Dirty Dogs, or P-Wags, as Sean calls them, versus like the Creed brothers or something.
Sure.
Like, there's things they can do that are going to be valuable.
Yeah. The Nerd Guru says, wow, Vince got one look at Braun and said, yep, you're losing to Uncle Ziggy and getting called up immediately, pal. But if no Cody, Braun versus Rollins at Mania. Now, that is something I would be interested in. Like, if no Cody, who's a better foe for Seth Rollins at Mania if Cody's not coming in?
And Kevin Owens just doesn't wrestle at all.
No, he's just going to get sundered. Not only that, but Warren Hayes, friend of the show, reminded me, not only is he going to get stunnered, but Booker T from Texas is going to come down and hit him with an axe kick. JBL is going to hit him with a clothesline from hell. Shawn Michaels is going to come down and get him a super kick. Everyone who's ever been from Texas, including The Undertaker, is going to come out and give him a choke slam. Everyone's going to give all of their finishers to Kevin Owens, and everyone's going to go home happy, right?
They're going to resuscitate Von Erichs from the dead for this.
Harry Yazawa says, what if the NXT title is the second title for either Raw or SmackDown after the unification of the WWE and Universal titles? I don't think it can be the NXT title if it's on Raw or SmackDown. I think it's got to be on NXT, but
no, and it defeats the purpose of the unification then to just give a brand another title. But
Numlocks says homeless means Braun's getting called up. Should Mello or LA Knight take the belt off of Dolph next? I think both of those guys are getting called up too soon if Dolph is actually going to stick around. I vote for Tony D'Angelo.
It's hard because, like, matchups wise, what I want to see is like Pete Dunne. I think he's going to face Ciampa a bunch. I don't know who's next in line. Probably Grayson Waller.
Yeah. Oh, no, because Ziggler's a heel. We're not going to do that. They wouldn't do that. Would they do that? They'd do that, wouldn't they? They'd make me hate everything.
Did you see the first match of the Dusty Classic tonight?
Stop it. Josh Weaver says, numbers game, you say. Sounds like Breaker needs to just apply some Steiner math.
Well, you look at him.
Yep. Valob says, I think Braun was also surprised at the roadblock. He was just cruising along and they were like, hey kid, you're losing the title next week.
It's like he was on this road, this clear open road, and there's just this blockage in the middle of the way.
The Nerd Guru says, if the end game of this nonsense is Ziggler versus Walter, then yeah, I'm kind of down, but man, they do everything so backwards. They really do. Normhausen says, can you assign someone to butter my muffin? Because Dolph as 2.0 champ ain't doing it. Is Rex Steiner facing Seth at Stupendous Mania since the Cody deal seems to be off? Honestly, until these people are humper chatting this, I had no idea. But like that would be my match of the weekend. Braun Breaker versus Seth Rollins. Like, I would be more excited for that than literally anything else on either card.
I would be very excited for it. I am kind of intrigued by the blow off of Roman and Brock, but that would be very interesting. That would be interesting.
Bill says, sorry, what happened in NXT? I know you guys are telling me, but everything is going silent and I'm getting lost in the hair. Don't get lost in the hair.
You guys, I made a joke before about not getting a raise. Like, you have to look this good to get a raise at Fightful. That's what it is. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen Sean's hair. Jeremy's hair is out of control. Like, yeah. Look at that. Do I have bangs? Sure. So I have the potential.
Mark Losper says of your pick to who dethrones Dolph Ziggler being Grayson Waller, that you're getting your Joel Pearl on with that one.
Please don't mention us in the same breath ever again. And
Mark Quill
Luis,
says,
please screen the super chats better. That should never have gotten through. My God.
Mark Quill says, can't let Mark Losper get all the super chats. I just want to say, I hope WWE knows what they're doing, right? Right? No, they never know what they're doing.
I don't know. I was surprised by this, but I'm not like that floored. I'm not that floored or disappointed by this, but I also really like Dolph Ziggler, so.
Right. The Badger to One Jam Beard says, so Manny is NXT Women's Champ, and now Dolph is NXT Champ. What's next? The Hurt Business for NXT Tag Champs? Yes, please. Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin coming down to NXT and working with the young guys is a great, great, great idea. So we got some other ones we're gonna go through here. JW Pringle says, Tall Paul Elizabeth, I have questions that can't be answered. Why is there air? How many slices of pizza is the perfect amount? Now that Ziggles won the NXT belt, will the main roster acknowledge it? The main roster is going to acknowledge it because it's going to be a storyline on Raw. Paul Hensler says, greetings to the team, Kalex family. It makes sense. Perhaps it's now a rule that we say a big howdy to JW Pringle from the entire Elizabeth family.
Howdy. I'm part of the Elizabeth family. I can say it.
The Battered at One Jam Beard says, taking the bus is still going to be cheaper than paying for gas with your firstborn child. I don't know. They raised the price on the bus so often.
They do, because the gas going up affects the buses.
I don't drive, so I
no, you can't after the accident.
No. After that hit and run, I'm still the people are still looking for me. Wanted in 3 states.
That went in a different direction than I thought it was going. It's true.
Josh Weaver says, now I'm scared that WPW's Formage Horseman, Ricotta Flair, Tully Blanchetter, and Parm and Gorgonzola Anderson are going to be signed to NXT. I love it. Batted at One Jam Beard says, Chase, you feels like a gimmick they would have tried to give Drew Gulak, but he said no. Yeah, we're talking about bad things that happened during the Attitude Era. How about Kane and Katie Vick? Or how about not?
How about Snitsky putting a baby?
Jake Allen has an idea for who was going to play Tiffany Stratton's dad. Donald Trump. And I say no, that's not a thing. We're not going to do that. No.
He is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Nope. Hornswoggle is busy because he's almost his personal cameraman on Raw. Did you see that segment? It was being shot from underneath the crust of the earth.
I did. I forgot they gave us the MTV 1994 angle.
Mm-hmm. Bill says, less Sally Jesse, more Phil Donahue. Oh, yes, of course. Phil Donahue, there's no one like the Phil Donahue.
No, but I do like those Sally Jesse's glasses.
It's true. Bill's going to be 40 years old in 8 Australia days. So next week, we got to throw a party for Bill.
It's a Billabration.
You. Mark Losper says, I said it on Sunday. Regal, ROH Tuesdays, please. Man.
I might have said offline that I hope NXT 2.0's TV contract gets eliminated and we get to watch ROH instead on Tuesdays.
That'd be nice. James
Wardlow.
Are we going to get a Kalex Ring of Honor show? If I'm so excited, if so, War Games. Yes, it would be great.
I don't know if you guys know this. I was a fan of Ring of Honor.
Yes, you were. Josh Weaver says, first they gave us Camp WWE. Now we have NXT High, the next generation. Jerry Pringle says, Kate likes rules and things make sense. Sorry to say you're in the wrong place.
I know.
The developmental.
I liked Ring of Honor.
Mark Losper says the developmental element is the talent. It shouldn't be the writing. That might be acceptable if Vince's nephew on Work Experience was heading this. Yeah, the writing is so bad. They shouldn't be training new writers.
Same as special effects. They should not be developmental either.
Bill says, you have my heart, Kate.
Oh.
We got a lot of This Is Awesome chants. Kim C says, most of tonight's matches were fun, but everyone's standards of awesome vary, I suppose.
Standards may vary.
So, happy International Women's Day. Linda, Sheila, and our own Kate Elizabeth from JW Pringle. Mark Quill says, hi, everyone. Hello, Kate and Alex, and hello, fellow Council of Marks. I hope we're all having a fun party time with our dollary dues. Mark also says, so is this NXT after party also the group meeting for the Council of Marks? I was gonna suggest the Mark order, but that's taken. Mark Losper says, as an FYI, this is true, on account of losing a Revolution bet to Alex and how cool this community is, I'm going to donate $100 to a Ukraine charity in the name of the Sour Graps Society. We take care of our own and others in this house. This is very true.
We have the best people in the world.
We do.
Like, we really do.
Pile driver finisher says to here's Kalex controlling maintaining their perspective. Yes. That's true. Okay, let's go here.
Narrative.
Alan Mark says, I'll say it on a super chat. SRS needs a third channel. Fightful Kalex. Just us doing shows literally all day, all the time, apparently.
Sean would lose his mind, but
would.
I'm in for it.
Dan Janoff says, good evening, Linda and Sheeler. I have been listening to AFI since Sunday. Do you think anyone controlled their narrative tonight? Well, some controlled the narrative, others not so much.
Not so
The
much.
batted to one Jam Beard says, so I missed what happened to Kate. How did she get hurt before? I personally think she got into a bar room brawl and pulled a Haku.
Well, it was a combination of things. As you guys know, I am the knife kissing champion.
Yes.
And training comes with its dangers. I did also fight sharks with freaking laser beams attached to their heads, but I sustained the injury by fighting off multiple bears. We were gonna have a match at Revolution, but then I got bumped due to my injury.
Yes. Mark Losper says, congrats to me on the raise. Absolutely well-deserved, mate. One of the best to ever do it. And the biggest reason SRS gets my $5 a month. Thank you so much, Mark. You're the best.
If I didn't also get reimbursed, Alex would also be the reason that I get my $10 a month reimbursed.
Mark Losper is talking about somebody stealing opportunities, but I've lost all context of what that super chat was about. So I'm sorry, Mark, but I'm reading it anyway.
Wait, what was it?
They just steal opportunities. That's what he says.
Oh, I don't
know. Joey Bag of Donuts says, since William Regal can't say war games, maybe he can go around the AEW locker room and ask anyone if they want to play board games, shoots and ladders, Parcheesi.
I like that. Everybody's been playing the war part, for war though. But I like board games.
My battleship. So we'll go jukebox in about 3 minutes.
Let's go.
Ryan Sullivan says, did William Regal tell some of his NXT kids he's going to AEW? I think he did, and I think we should hear it for ourselves. There comes a time when a man must move on, and I am moving on to lead Bryan Danielson and Jon Moxley in a stable that will take over all of wrestling, and you're free to call or write. But I don't know if I'm ever actually going to see you again. Goodbye. Mark Losper says, super chat to explain his other super chat.
Oh, you could just send it in with stars next time.
MSK is stealing opportunities like John Cena does.
Oh, yeah. Who just signs Finn Balor's contract when he feels like it.
Contract. Here we go. Today's Country Corner, Tony D's Country Corner, is Time Marches On by Tracy Lawrence, as read by Tony D'Angelo.
Put the glasses on.
Oh, God. Sister cries out from a baby bed, brother runs in, feathers on his head. Mama's in her room learning how to sew. Daddy's drinking beer, listen to the radio. Hank Williams sings Carl Egan, Dear John. Time marches on, time marches on. Now his sister's using rouge and clear complexion soap. Brother's wearing beads. And he smokes a lot of dope. Mama's depressed, barely makes a sound. Daddy's got a girlfriend in another town. Bob Dylan sings like a rolling stone, and time marches on, time marches on. A minute and a half. I'm getting under this damn thing.
You got it.
Nerd Guru says, I am supposed to sing. Nothing from nowhere. I'm no one at all. Radiate, recognize one silent call as we all form one dark flame. As we all form one dark flame. Yes. William Regal loves AFI. And finally, we're gonna get oh no, you lost. Hey, you deleted it.
Oh no.
Elise, you deleted it.
Stop the clock.
I need that back. Linda's supposed to sing a song. You deleted it. Where did it go? Where did it go? There it is. Thank you. Here we go.
Everything sucks. Bye. Take us home.
Yeah, here we go. This is by request from the Batted at One Jam Beard. This is Linda singing My Heart Will Go On.
Every night in my dreams, I see you, I feel you. That is how I know you. Go on. Far across the distance and spaces between us, you have come to show you go on. Near, far, wherever you are, I believe that the heart does go on. Once more, you open the door, and you're here in my heart, and my heart will go on. So you got that going for you. Anyway, we got to go. Bye, everybody. Keep cool, gabagool.